The Lucifer Effect. Can good people become evil? Have you ever wondered how an ordinary, seemingly good person could suddenly do something cruel? We often think good and evil are completely separate. But what if ordinary people could behave in ways they normally consider unacceptable? This question is at the heart of what psychologist Philip Zimbardo called the Lucifer Effect. The question is, what could make an ordinary person cross the line? A simple example. Imagine a respectful employee whose manager says a particular group of customers is causing problems. At first, the employee treats everyone fairly. But gradually, the manager encourages employees to be less patient with that group. Other coworkers do the same. Eventually, disrespect becomes normal. The employee may begin thinking they deserve it. The person didn't suddenly change. The environment did. Another example. Imagine a group where everyone makes fun of one person. At first, you feel uncomfortable and don't participate. Then someone says, "Relax. It's just a joke." Everyone laughs. Eventually, you laugh too. You may have gradually adapted to the group's behavior. This is one of the uncomfortable ideas behind the Lucifer Effect. Situations can influence behavior more powerfully than we realize. What is the Lucifer Effect? The Lucifer Effect is the idea that ordinary people can sometimes engage in harmful, abusive, or unethical behavior when powerful situational, social, or institutional pressures encourage it. The concept is strongly associated with psychologist Philip Zimbardo and his analysis of the 1971 Stanford prison experiment. In that experiment, college students were assigned roles as prisoners or guards in a simulated prison. The study was stopped after 6 days because the behavior and psychological effects became concerning. Zimbardo used the experience to explore a larger question. How much can situations influence human behavior? It does not mean everyone will become cruel or that people have no responsibility for their actions. Instead, human behavior is influenced by an interaction between the person and the situation. Environments can create pressures and norms that make harmful behavior easier to justify. How does it happen? It can begin with something small. A person accepts one questionable decision, then another. The behavior becomes normalized. The group approves it. Authority encourages it. Eventually, behavior that once seemed unacceptable may feel ordinary. The power of authority. Imagine a supervisor repeatedly says, "Don't question this. Just follow the procedure." An employee may disagree at first, but if everyone else follows the instruction, resistance becomes harder. The employee might think, if everyone is doing it, maybe it isn't really wrong. The desire to belong can collide with personal morality. The power of groups. If everyone around you behaves a certain way, that behavior can begin to feel normal. And once something feels normal, we may stop questioning it. Dangerous behavior doesn't always begin with hatred. Sometimes it begins with, "That's just how things are done here." The most dangerous part. The frightening part is that the transformation may not feel dramatic. There may be no moment when someone decides, "Today I will become evil." Instead, there can be a series of small compromises. One exception, one justification, one act of obedience, one moment of silence. Eventually, the line that once seemed obvious becomes difficult to see. Does this excuse bad behavior? Absolutely not. Understanding the psychological forces behind harmful behavior is not the same as excusing it. We can recognize that situations influence people while still holding individuals accountable for their decisions. Understanding these influences may help us prevent harm by encouraging people to question authority, report misconduct, protect those who speak up, and recognize warning signs. A critical question. So can good people become evil? Perhaps the answer is more complicated than yes or no. People are capable of compassion and cruelty. Circumstances can influence behavior, but if situations influence us, how much responsibility do we have for resisting them? That's where personal choice enters the conversation. Reflective thinking. Think about your own life. Have you ever remained silent because everyone else was silent? Have you ever done something you didn't completely agree with because an authority figure told you to? Have you ever laughed at something because everyone else was laughing? Have you ever gradually accepted something you initially thought was wrong? These experiences don't make you evil. They make you human, but they can teach us something important. Sometimes the first step toward harmful behavior isn't hatred. It may simply be stopping the questions. When we stop asking, "Is this right? Who could be harmed? Would I do this if nobody were watching?" Am I following an order that I should question? We become more vulnerable to the environment around us. The consequences. For an individual, it can mean losing empathy, becoming desensitized, damaging relationships, or compromising values. For groups, it can create conformity, bullying, discrimination, abuse, and a culture where misconduct becomes normal. For institutions and society, it can create systems where people stop questioning unethical practices and accept harmful behavior because authority, tradition, or the group says it is acceptable. Short summary. The Lucifer Effect reminds us that ordinary people can be strongly influenced by powerful situations. Authority, group pressure, social roles, normalization, and environment can influence behavior. But influence is not destiny. A situation can create pressure without determining our response. We can still pause, question, resist, and speak. Sometimes the most important moral decision is simply refusing to say, "Everyone else is doing it." So, here's the question I want to leave you with. If everyone around you believed something was acceptable, but you believed it was wrong, would you have the courage to stand alone? And the more uncomfortable question, how would you know? We usually imagine that we would resist, but we rarely know what we are capable of until tested. Maybe the real lesson of the Lucifer Effect isn't that good people are secretly evil. Maybe it's that none of us should become so confident in our own morality that we stop questioning the situations that influence us. Question what you think you know.